Hey everybody, it's been about a week or so since I've done another video on the Jeep. Wanted to show you guys what the fuel filter looks like. This fuel filter has been on for, I want to say, 200 miles, let's say. Yeah, it's been about 200 miles. Now, mind you, the gas tank has been completely, repaired, cleaned up. It was never dirty on the inside of it. The fuel lines, all the rubber lines have been replaced. Mention all of that. This line right here is new. Well, new to the Jeep, but it was clean. The only thing I didn't change was the original fuel lines. I knew the original fuel lines were rusty, and I remember when I was showing you guys when I was cranking the Jeep, I was putting the fuel line, this one right here, into a bottle, and the bottle was like black with water, had like rusty chunks inside of it and so forth. And that's before I dropped the tank and did all that stuff. This was like 5 months ago. So, but obviously, again, I didn't replace those lines. And I was driving to the dump yesterday. I had about, I actually had 2,000 pounds in the back of this thing. I had concrete blocks and tires that I had to put in the dump. You can see I've used this bed many times now for hay, and you can see the remnants of the concrete in here. And this roll-on bed liner, I've already done a review for it, but it's actually amazing. Even with concrete, it just hasn't done anything to it. So there's no chips or anything in there besides like one or two, but it's held up really well. And this bed has held up really well. 2,000 pounds, that's a lot. I weighed the Jeep. I think I have I have the sticker over here. I'll show you guys. I still have to fix this crooked corner. It still leans to the left. And I actually found out, I think it's the suspension. I don't think it's the frame. When I measure the coilover shock over here, it's 12 inches. When I measure this coilover shock, it's 12.5 inches. And you can actually tell if you look at it or pause the video, and then you look at that one and pause the video, you can actually see that the one on the left that I'm looking at right now is actually more compressed. According to the measurements, it's 1/2 inch compressed. So this is with the gas tank in there. Right now, there's probably, I'm getting like between 8 and 10 miles a gallon right now. More around like 10. I have to actually measure it, but it seems like when I drive to town twice and back home twice, it takes about 6 gallons. And to town is 15 miles, so one way to town, one way home is 30, so 2 ways, that's 60 miles. So 60 divided by 6 gallons every time I fill up, I'm getting 10 miles a gallon. So that's, I guess, about normal for a 360. So it's not getting horrible gas mileage, but to be honest, I think it should be a little bit better, like around 13 or so. But I mean, my Wagoneer gets like 13. This one, whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to swap the coilovers. I know this video is all over the place, but I'm going to swap the coilover shock from this side to that side, because remember, they are used. I did have these things on my Wagoneer, but when they were off the Jeep, I held them side by side, and they were the same height and length. So I'm not sure why this side is more compressed. It could be because the gas tank is full. There's like, I want to say there's 16 gallons in there right now, and 15 if I want to be generous. Well, sorry, 16 if I want to be generous, and 15 if I had to guess. So, but that's a lot of gas. But to be honest, it's not a lot of gas. Gas doesn't weigh as much as water. I think it's like 5 pounds per gallon. So that's like, what, 100 pounds or something? Let's just say 100 pounds. My math is terrible, sorry. But there's 100 pounds more on that side. But the transfer case is over here. It's not on the driver's side. So I don't really know. So, but even when the gas tank was not even in the car, it still leaned when the new suspension was on. So something is off. Either the leaf spring on this side is weak, and it's stronger on the passenger side, or the coilover is weak on this side and stronger on the passenger side. So Once I take the coilovers off, then I'm going to check the measurement, and if it's still off, then it's probably the leaf spring. But the thing is, it did this with the old leaf springs on, with the broken one, and I thought that it was just because the spring was broken. I mean, duh, it had 2 broken springs. So, but it's hard to tell if it's the frame. I mean, when you sit inside of there or sit down here on the floor and you look at the frame on this side and you look at the frame on that side really carefully, they look fine. Mind you, I did cut a huge chunk of the frame off of this thing on this side. You can see it in there. Basically, I cut like 70 or 80% of the frame off, and I cut maybe 2 feet of that almost, a 1.5 feet. So that's a lot of the frame I cut off, and I did leave it like that for like 2 or 3 weeks. So maybe it sagged. I don't know, but to be honest, there was no real weight over here either. There was no tailgate. There were no cross members over here. There was no floorboard. So it was really light, to be honest. I really don't think the frame drooped because of that. And the weird thing is when I measure from the concrete ground on both sides in multiple spots, like 3 or 4 spots, like let's say the back, then like 6 inches over, 6 inches over. When I measure that, they're the same height in the air, but it's still dropping down. It's really weird. So if the frame was sagged, then it should be lower over here. But then if the suspension is lower, the frame should be lower, right? I don't really know. It's off. Like I said, it's off by about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch if you push it. 3/4 of an inch is roughly where it is. And if this coilover is compressed by 1/2 inch, this one is compressed by 1/2 inch, and this one is sticking out by 1/2 inch, then there is kind of my 3/4 of an inch. You know what I mean? That's would explain why it's dropped on that side. So I won't talk about this anymore, and I'll move on because I don't want to make the video too long. I know people don't like watching long videos, but what was I getting at? Oh yeah, the weight of the vehicle. So I went to the dumped all the concrete, and this is what the weight was with me out of the vehicle with nothing in it. So it weighs 4,160 pounds. I think these things from factory weigh 4,200 to 4,400 pounds. I'm not exactly sure. So it's a little bit lighter than it would be from factory, but you got to remember it's missing a lot of metal on the sides. The bed is not 16 gauge like it was factory. It's about half as thick, so it weighs half as less or half as much. Now, mind you, I do have, I want to say 3 or 4 more cross members on here, so that does add more weight. But another thing, like the wheel wells are rusted. It's just the frame has lost a lot of weight, from the pitting on it. So, I would say it's lost maybe about 100 pounds of steel. Between the thinner bed and all that stuff. So, but it's about average, about where it's supposed to be. But anyway, I had, when I drove the vehicle there with me in the car, it was 5,900 pounds. So I was just shy of the 6,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. So, like I said, I had almost a ton of material in there. So with me included, because you also have to include the driver. You can't just count what's in the bed. So, that's about maximum for the Dana 44s. To be honest, this is only a 1/2 ton truck, so you can only put 1,000 to 1,300 pounds roughly in this vehicle, but I had 2,000 pounds. Had no issue. To be honest, this only dropped like 2 inches, if that, you know what I mean? And it drove fine, 60 miles an hour, no issues, no swerving, no swaying. This truck can easily handle 2,000 pounds. This is easily a 1-ton truck. I think that they really underrated this vehicle, to be honest. That's just me. But anyway, as for the fuel, I know I went all over the place. So this is the filter. Now that it's dry, you can see it's pretty clogged. When I was driving back home, when I stepped on the gas, it was like bogging down. It wanted to die. If this stupid phone will focus, it wanted to die. So it's not horribly clogged, but it is pretty clogged in my mind. So this fuel filter, I definitely knew that this was going to happen. If you look inside of here, you can see the crap that's inside of this. I hope that the fuel filter filtered all of this stuff and it didn't get into the carburetor. I mean, that's what a fuel filter is for, so I'm almost wondering if I should put 2 fuel filters on this thing. But anyway, I have another fuel filter. I need to go to the store and buy another one because I'm sure that that fuel filter is going to get clogged again. It's just the more I drive it, the more it's going to dislodge, and eventually it'll be okay. You know what I mean? I guess my concern is more of the drain back. So draining back into the gas tank. Is that going to put, material in the gas tank? I'm not sure. So anyway, I'll let you guys go. Gonna put the fuel filter on, and to be honest, I still haven't put that alternator on. I guess I've been really lazy between all of the work I've done the last few months, 4 o'clock in the mornings and stuff like that. I've kind of just been really lazy and just taking a break, you know what I mean? It runs, it drives, it goes to town, it goes to the dump. It does what I need it to do. So I haven't really done anything, and I just wanted to take a little break. So, but I don't know. Maybe I'll put the alternator on tonight. Maybe I won't. We'll see. And I did get a tachometer, so I'm going to put a tachometer in here, just like I did my Wagoneer. I'm not going to screw it into the column because I don't want to drill into it and mess it all up or whatever. I'm going to put it, where I did my Wagoneer. It sits in between. It sits right up here in the Wagoneer, and then the wires they actually go down on the inside down there. And they come down here, and you got to hook one up to the ground. One of them goes to the headlights, I believe. So when you turn the headlights on, the light comes on, and then the other one goes to the coil over here. I'm not sure which wire goes to the coil, but that one goes to the coil. Still haven't fixed the fuel gauge issue. It's probably a ground, but if it's not the ground, I also got to check to see if power is going to the wire. If power is going to the wire and the ground doesn't fix it, then it's the gauge. The gauge in the dash doesn't work. And I'm wondering, do they sell fuel gauges, kind of like the tachometers? You know what I mean? I'm not sure. So because I really want fuel gauge to work. It's kind of annoying with it being empty. And to be honest, after 2 or 3 trips, I just fill it up full because I don't know how much gas I have, and I don't want to run out, you know what I mean? So because between the choke not working properly, when the choke was not working, I was getting like 1 mile a gallon. It was horrible. So now that I'm getting 8 to 10, but who knows, maybe it'll drop down to 1 mile a gallon again, and then I'll run out of gas down the road. I don't know. So, but anyway, let me let you guys go. I know it's 13 minutes long, so just wanted to show you how clogged and dirty this fuel filter was. After just 200 miles. That is 200 miles. Pretty bad. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys.